Medical school is the constant cycle of proving yourself over and over and over again. I'm very appreciative that I had this year of struggle because it's really pointed out all the flaws within myself that I need to work on. And going through this first year, there was a lot of times where I felt like not supposed to be there. I wasn't gonna do well at all and just succeed at all my first year of medical school. And hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Piper Jasmine, and today I'm doing a hairstyle. That's not what this video is on, but I just thought it was cute. We're gonna be doing a first year of medical school reflection sort of video. I'm super excited to just share how my first year went, and if you're interested in medicine or if you're going in to medicine, I'm gonna be reflecting on my first year of medical school, and I don't even just how all of that went. I cannot believe that I'm done with my first year and I'm 1/4 of a doctor, one step closer to reaching my goals. So if you guys are interested, you guys should pop some popcorn, and I'm just gonna be reflecting on my first year. Yeah, okay, so a little background information for you guys if you're new to my channel. My name is Piper and I graduated from undergrad last year at the University of Georgia. I completed undergrad in 4 years. I majored in health promotion with an emphasis in behavioral medicine, and I applied to medical school my summer going into my senior year. I had, 3 interviews and 3 medical school acceptances, and started medical school last June. So I literally graduated last May and I started school in June. So yeah, so first things first, we're gonna talk about what a humbling experience it is to be in medical school. Coming in to medical school, I was actually one of the youngest in my class, and I remember when I was looking at everyone and following everyone on social media, a lot of my classmates are either married, in relationships, engaged, or have kids, and I was just like a 22-year-old used to doing whatever I want, going out on the weekends, have that much responsibility. So it was definitely kind of an adjustment. And it also, because when you're in college and when you're in undergrad, most of the people in your class are your age. And honestly, it isn't that much of a big deal, but I did find it kind of difficult a little bit in the beginning to make connections with people. What's so different about medical school and undergrad is in medical school, as I mentioned, there's so many things that people have going on in their lives, whether they're married or have kids. And me being 22, I really have the ability to do whatever I want whenever I want. So definitely kind of interesting to see the demographics of the class when I first got there. And I would say back in undergrad, it's kind of, because everyone's the same age, it's definitely easier to find people that are interested in things that you're interested in. Because obviously, if you're a mom of 4 or if you've been married for 3 years, you might not want to go out to the club on Saturday night. And I get that. I totally understand that. Give me 1 second. I don't know why my eyes just won't stop. That was definitely very interesting. Literally some of my classmates are 30 years old, 40 years old. And it's almost kind of weird to consider friends because y'all are approaching 30. Or y'all are 30 and I'm 22. That's very interesting. Not interesting in a bad way by any means. It's just I was very surprised with the demographics. I guess that I thought going into medical school that most people only took a year or 2. I kind of thought that most people were around 23, 24, or people took gap years for 1 year. But honestly, what I have learned is everyone goes to medical school at their own pace, and that's the really beautiful thing about it. There's not a timeline, there's not an expiration date for you to go to medical school. And I actually loved how diverse my class is because it definitely exemplifies and shows the commitment that people have to medicine, and I think that is very beautiful about it as well. And there were some other people in my class who graduated within the same timeline as me, just graduated, but there was less than 5 of us. I think it was 3 of us who had just graduated. And so I would say another thing that I really had to you know, like learn and get accustomed to within my first year is just the rigor of medical school, especially coming from undergrad. And I talked a lot about this in my transition video, so I'm gonna link that. I'm not gonna go too far in depth with that conversation. But like in undergrad, I didn't have to do that much work in undergrad. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Undergrad was really a breeze for me. The only troubles I had in undergrad was general chemistry, not even OChem. Like I was a beast at OChem. That was easy for me. Only time that I academically struggled throughout undergrad. And so coming to medical school, the rigor of the curriculum, like it is insane. And you always hear that, I don't know like what was going through my head when I was starting medical school. Obviously it's such a different experience and I was really trying to go into it with the open mind. Like I remember the first day of orientation, I was like, okay, I have no idea what this is. This is like a whole new world, a whole new planet. But you know, we're gonna survive and conquer, right? So I was like, I don't know you guys. The first year was definitely pretty difficult for me academically wise. I can completely say with 110% confidence that I have never struggled so much academically, which is completely fine. I believe that you definitely have to struggle in order to get better and to learn from mistakes and to reach your best self, honestly. And the crazy part about medical school is I feel like it's not even the content that is super hard. It's just the amount of content. And there's a saying that like medicine is like drinking water from a water hose or something like that. That's true. That's so true. And it's just, you are required to retain, and not even just to like retain, but to understand and apply so much information in such a short amount of time. Like I'll have a block could have 3 weeks of content before having an exam, and we'll have lecture every single day, like lecture from 9 to 3. These lectures can be from anywhere from like 40 to 90 slides every single day, you guys. I was not used to that. I was not used to that whatsoever. And so I think at first it was such an overwhelming feeling of having to understand so much information in such a short amount of time. And I just like, is there someone out there? Okay. Yeah, like the first couple of months was really hard because I had just never had to do that before, ever, not even in undergrad. In undergrad, you could really probably just devote a weekend and then those couple of days leading up to your exam and you would be fine. You can't do that in medical school. I really had to learn maybe after my basic principles block that I needed to start preparing for my exams like a week earlier. I literally start reviewing for my exam 1 week before the exam. I start reviewing like the very first lecture 1 week before my exam. Keep in mind, we're still having new lectures and stuff like that. No, you cannot wait the weekend before to review stuff for medical school, and I had to learn that the hard way. But anyways, I was definitely taken aback with just how much content there is to know. But I think one of the most coolest things about medical school is that it's kind of like a constant cycle of proving yourself over and over and over again. I do love that my school is pass-fail because with the pass-fail curriculum, I feel like the only person that I'm really trying to impress is myself, honestly. Like everyone's transcript, no matter like what numerical grade that you end with, it's either gonna say P or F. They put like high pass on the transcript, but at the end of the day, a pass is a pass, so you either have a P or you have an F. So it's just a constant cycle of just proving to myself that I can do it. And I definitely am so grateful that we work on pass fail, because if I had numerical grades, like I've been on this floor just crying, like it wouldn't have been good. A really big thing that I had to work on throughout this year was imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is so real. Like I said, I have never felt so academically challenged before, and going through this first year, there was a lot of times where I felt like not supposed to be there. I felt like I could not get through it, that I wasn't gonna pass this exam, I wasn't gonna pass this mini board, I wasn't gonna do well in this quiz, I wasn't gonna do well in my lab practical, I wasn't gonna do well at all and just succeed at all my first year in medical school, and really just because of a score. And these would be scores that like aren't even like really failing. Like I'm talking about at least above a 70, right? And I just had to, I really learned this semester that I don't have that much confidence in myself. And that's kind of like a super sad thing, but I'm glad that I can admit that because, you know, I'm making a promise to myself to work on that a lot this year and over the summer. And, you know, for my second year, I don't have a lot of confidence in myself. And it's always so funny to me because so my line sisters will be like, oh, like, I don't know how you do this. You do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, girl, how I do it either. Like, trust me, I have my breakdowns. I just don't show them. Just don't put them out there in the public. Breakdowns a lot. And this year really taught me that I am not confident in myself and in my abilities. And that has to change right here, right now. Because, you know, one thing that kind of helps keep me going in school is just believing and just realizing that God put me in this position for a reason. If I wasn't meant to go to medical school right after graduation, God would have delayed me. God would have, you know, maybe I wouldn't have gotten those interviews. Maybe I wouldn't have done well on my second MCAT for me to even get an interview. Maybe my personal statement would have been trash. I'm just a firm believer that if God did not want me in this position today, it would not have happened without. And, you know, when I feel down, like low confidence, I really try to remind myself that I am here for a reason. He's putting me through this journey because he knows that I can handle it. Because I'm a firm believer that God isn't giving me and he's not giving you or anyone else something that they cannot handle. So I really had to like hold in my faith. Like this was a year where I feel like I got a lot closer with God as well. And I prayed so much this year, not even praying for me to like do well on this or, you know, for asking God for things. I was praying this year a lot just to thank God. I have thanked God so much this year because I have come to realize in the position that I am in today, like I wouldn't be here without him. So literally, I think it's just so amazing and so beautiful too, how when you go through trials and tribulations and when you learn to hold on to your faith, I feel safe. Like I don't even know how to explain it. I go to bed every night just thanking God for the day, thanking that he woke me up, thanking him for my health, thanking him for my mom's health, thanking him for my brother's health and my family and my friends and everyone who I know and love. Just thanking him because I have just come to really appreciate that I am living a great life, even though it's hard sometimes. And I feel like that I do struggle sometimes, and that, you know, maybe sometimes I find myself not entirely happy with where I'm at. Like when, you know, I'm seeing my friends travel and seeing my friends be able to do this and that, and I study 10 hours a day. I've still been able to find my thanks and to be thankful and appreciative of the position that I am in today. I mean, I'm living in this wonderful apartment in this wonderful city, going to a great school, getting an education, working on my medical degree, and all I can have to say is like, thank you, God, thank you for this. And so I have really learned this year to really trust in my faith, and you know, I'm trusting in God that my confidence will build. I need to give y'all a whole like religious rant. I'm sorry, that just like really came out of me. But like that really kind of helped me with my imposter syndrome and with my confidence though, because I'm not confident in my academic abilities, which is so crazy. And I have learned too this year that I gotta stop, because also a disservice to myself to question my intelligence and to question my abilities. And I say that to myself all the time, like, why are you even questioning that you're like dumb or questioning that you're not smart enough for this? That is a disservice and disrespectful to all the work that you have put into yourself to even be here right now. That's disrespectful to all the hard work that you did applying to medical school, for taking the MCAT, for your past exams. I have to stop invalidating myself, and that is one of the biggest things that I have learned this year, that I tend to invalidate myself. And I don't know why. I literally don't, but it's something that I'm gonna work on. But that's like probably like the biggest reflection that I've had this year. I think I would have grasped that if I wasn't in medical school. Like, I'm sure it might have manifested somewhere along the road in a different way, but medical school has definitely taught me that I need to be confident in myself. Not even just because, you know, I need to trust and love myself and believe in myself, but also for my future patients. If I'm not confident in myself and my abilities, then my patients aren't going to be confident with me. My colleagues aren't going to be confident with me. So I'm very appreciative that I had this year of struggle, because it's really pointed out all the flaws within myself that I need to work on. And what's wonderful about it is all of these things are things that I can work on, whether that's doing more affirmations, talking to a therapist, being more vocal to my friends about my feelings and what I'm going through. I wouldn't have known that if I didn't go through this period of struggle. The imposter syndrome does get to you, but you know, I feel like as long as you keep in faith and like work on that confidence and that self-awareness, you're able to conquer it. And honestly too, imposter syndrome is just all in your head. I learned this year, it's just all in my head. And this always happens when I do talk to my classmates, and when I am vocal to them about the struggle that I'm going through. Like, I remember, like, I was so nervous about my mini board exam, and that video should be out like next week, I think. I definitely confided into some of my friends at school, like, how I'm just nervous that I might have to remediate the course, that I'm nervous that I'm gonna fail the exam, that I'm nervous that I'm gonna have to come back next Friday and retake something, or this is gonna affect my summer internship if I have to remediate. And they were all just super encouraging. Not only super encouraging, but some of them were also like, you know what, I'm going through the same thing. I didn't do well on this either, and I'm really nervous too. And we're just really able to build on each other and to encourage each other and be there for each other. And I chose this school because of the community feel, and I definitely do feel and know that I have friends at school. Like, if I'm struggling, if I need resources, like if I need a study partner, like I know I can reach out to someone and they will help me. And this kind of like coincides like with the next thing that I've like learned here, is that it's okay to ask for help. And I think I'm hard-headed. I'm an Aries, so I am naturally a hard-headed girl. And I have realized I've gotten to a point where I'd rather like ask for help and use all of my resources than not. I definitely think like the first block, which is basic principles, I was always just like, okay, I didn't get it this exam, I'm gonna get it the next exam. I didn't get it the next exam. Okay, I'm gonna get it the next exam, I swear. Didn't get it the next exam. I feel like exams that I've done really well on is when I asked for help, aka tutoring. And the tutoring services at my school is just amazing. Like, I love it. And like, I have, every time that I go to a tutoring session and schedule one and enjoy it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, why did I not do this for my other exam? Why did I wait so long to ask for help or to get to tutoring? Especially if this is a resource that my school offers. Like, duh, like, I'm already paying to be here. I should have just sucked my ego up. I should have just said, you know what, ego, it's time for you to sit down. So like, something, common sense needs to take over. And I should have just scheduled more tutoring sessions. There's absolutely nothing wrong with asking for help. There's absolutely nothing wrong for wanting a tutoring session. And those sessions help me so much on things like just even clarification. And I'll even just schedule a session just for advice. Like, I just need advice on this professor. Do you remember this exam? Like, I just need advice. And I'm like, your ego has to take a back seat in medical school, honestly. And that's something that I've had to digest, understand. As the months went by, my ego has to take a back seat. You can't see the wheel anymore. Maybe in college you could have. Maybe in college you could have been like, you know what, I'm not even gonna study for this class. I'm not gonna show up, do the X, Y, and Z, go over this before the exam and be okay, because I can do that. Like, that just doesn't work anymore, and it's fine. I feel like in medical school, you have to learn to be able to adapt and still succeed. And being able to adapt means that you have to be able to be open-minded. So yeah. Another thing that I like reflecting back on my first year of medical school is I feel like that I didn't have a very positive attitude my first couple of months, my first semester. And I think that's honestly because I had a very hard time with the transition and had a very hard time like balancing things as well, like balancing my personal life, my own happiness with the time constraints of medical school. And I just kind of felt like everything that I was doing my first semester working for me, like in terms of my studying habits and all of that. And I think that all just kind of made me have a hard time of enjoying the position where I was in and enjoying my school and enjoying the people there. And so what I've also learned this first year of medical school is how important your mindset is. Like that was a good and a big step for me because I have a little bit of social anxiety. Like I feel like I'm very awkward when I meet people. I kind of like always feel like people are low-key judging me when I'm outside anywhere where I'm like you know, but like I do feel like a little bit awkward when I meet people or if I'm in a setting where I don't really know a lot of people. So I think that kind of stemmed with that as well, because like just seeing how everyone made like really strong connections the first couple of weeks, and I just felt like I didn't really have a group of friends that kind of shied me away from going to certain things and like, you know, still getting to know people, just because I kind of felt like it was too late. And you know, spring break kind of taught me that it really wasn't too late. I just need to put myself out there more. Anyways, I was going on like somewhere else. I forgot what I was talking about. But I was just saying that with changing my mindset, I started like just doing better with taking care of myself, and once again, just devoting more time to like I found that taking a little bit more time of putting my apartment together, working out more, like doing workouts that I really enjoy, like Pilates, like doing that once a week. Is this saying that like my camera is overheated? I'm so confused. Okay, hopefully my camera cooled down or whatever it had going on. But another thing that I thought that really helped me this semester was setting myself a stop time, and I think that really helped me. So I really tried to stop studying around 9-10 o'clock, and before I would go as long as I want, and I definitely took a lot more study breaks and naps. Like I just listened to myself a lot more this semester, and I think that really helped me as well, because that kind of helped eliminate the feeling like that really helped eliminate the feeling of me feeling like I had to do something, and if I didn't, then I just wasn't good enough or whatever. So kind of having that helped me, because it's like, okay, which I'm gonna try like really hard next year to be on a better schedule, because I still feel like 9 and 10 o'clock is a little bit too late, because then I would stay up a little longer just decongesting like on TikTok or watching TV, but I would end up going to bed later. So I don't know, maybe next year I'll try to stop around 8 o'clock. But yeah, like just listening to myself when I was tired, when I wanted to eat, when I needed like a nap, when my brain just needed a break, that really helped me. And I started calling my uncle more too, because he's a physician and had to do all of that, so that really helped. Other than that, I feel like this was a really good year. I definitely found some units that I really liked. Like I really loved repro, and I really like neuro as well. Was able to find some reaffirming things in the lecture room as well that reminded me as why I chose this as a career path. I feel like I hit all the really big things that, you know, I've reflected on this past year, my first year of medical school. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and you were able to take away something from it if you're interested in med school, or if you're pre-med, or if you're thinking of medical school. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be on the lookout for some really fun summer content, because it's coming your way. And as always,